who hasn't seen it and who was interested, the ladies' team game was actually really, really exciting. It was 5-4 in the end, but we were 4-1 down at one stage and was fighting back. I got very confused because Darcy Wells scored 3 goals and then was immediately substituted. And I was just this confused look on my face. Didn't realise it was roll on, roll off subs. So that's something I've learned. But yeah, it was really, really interesting. And any Sutton fans who kind of do miss some of the old days where you could wander around, it's worth giving it a go because I got to sit in the away end in the new little seats and sort of view there. Where I know a few people earlier in the season were bitching and moaning about the view. They literally must have taken a picture from behind a pole because the view was absolutely fine. It's almost the same view that we have standing on the curva. But anyway, joining me is Dan for the second half of this. Mixed it up a little bit this week. We're going to do the review of the Stevenage game after we've previewed the Colchester game. Makes sense? And then Dan and I will talk about the Colchester game. But anyway, whatever. All works well. Dan, how are you?
Not too bad, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Very well. Rambling on a little bit as normal. So, nice quiet game to you to cover for you. Did the blog this week. I'm sorry, it just came out about 10, 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, managed to get up before this, rushing to get it finished.
But yeah, not much to sort of talk about.
Let's just move straight on to the Colchester game, mate. It's just not worth bothering.
Standard, give away a 2-goal lead.
Yeah.
Again, I have to say, I did stick a couple, not much, but a couple of pennies at 2-0 down. Because I just saw I did a couple of pence left in my Betfair account and thought, oh, do you know what? I'll lay against Stevenage because I don't really understand laying, but I'll lay against Stevenage. Set it to be like 76p, and so I'm 15 quid better off. So I'm like,
nice.
That's worked well. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I think Nick had 4 days. He had a fiver on us to win at half time and a fiver on the draw. So he came in at 40, 50 quid. He was 40, 50 quid up on the way back. And we then drank that in the centre back in town afterwards.
Well, I did think about it because I saw it was like 50-1 for the win. I was like, no, they're not going to do it again. It's not going to happen again. But I'd have been crying if they had. Well, I wouldn't have been crying. I would have been delighted. But yeah, so first goal, I think had that been Ben doing the exact same action on the striker, it would definitely have been a free kick.
Yeah, I don't disagree, mate. I mean, to be honest, if anyone was in the ground and saw that, doesn't think it's a foul, then they're an idiot, because it was. I mean, fair enough. The stuff before was 2 players tussling for the ball. That's like, but Ben's managed, got the better of him, turned him, goes to go away from him, and he pulls him back and down.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we then stopped, and that's where the opening came for the goal. But I mean, it's a free kick, or there's it's a bad decision because Matt doesn't mention stuff about refs.
Yeah, absolutely.
99% of the time, if there's something contentious in the game, he'll always say, "Well, I wasn't, I didn't," or he'll kind of give a bit of an opinion on it. Yeah. But in that he was going, "Yeah, that was a foul." Everyone thought it was a foul. It should have been a foul. So we shouldn't have stopped after the foul, but we did. So
yeah, I mean, it was difficult from what I saw anyway. Is once he'd gone over, there's a huge gap anyway. So it wasn't an awful lot. I don't think anyone could have done, even if they carried on. I'm not trying to remember it back, but it's one of those that, as I say, if it's a striker in that position, they stay on their feet. Everyone's going, no, you should have gone over. But a defender that goes over doesn't ever get it, and I just found it very bizarre. The second goal, I can't even really remember, to be honest.
Free kick in. We kind of. Yeah. I think we were expecting them to play a direct set piece, and instead they played it short. We rushed it down, but what that did was both the lads on the wall rushed it down, and he then played it short behind them.
Yeah.
Another little short ball, and then it ends up going in, and it's just a little glance into the far corner off the bloke's head. So
we're begging for half time at this point, or I was like, come on, just
it was just let's just get in at 2 down and just see if we can sort this out.
Yeah,
but, I mean, I don't think we played particularly well at all first half.
No.
It's probably one of the one of the most disjointed performances we've seen in a while. But I mean, they had a lot of the ball, but didn't really do anything with it. Which we see from a lot of sides. A lot of guys, a lot of these teams like to have the ball, but I think Dino had only had like one save to make prior to the first goal. So yeah, they hadn't done a lot. So it was a bit weird going in 2 down at half time. All right, we haven't been brilliant, but it's not like they'd run us completely ragged for 45 minutes. So yeah, it was. Yeah, we looked a little bit more like ourselves second half, thankfully.
Yeah, and so I saw on one of the replies to you, I was teasing Ali because where he scored against Colchester and they tried to take it off of him. I think they did with an own goal.
Oh, the OG, because he came back off the post, yeah.
So then this one yesterday, he's tweeted it going, "What a great goal!" And I'm like, "Yeah, you sure that didn't take a clip on the way through? Just taking the piss." And next week, someone's got on the Stevenage report. Yeah, it's
deflected and floated in. Yeah. I mean, okay, I said this at the time. I thought it did catch a little nick on the way through. It didn't alter the flight of the ball. So sorry, don't worry, Ali. We're not trying to take that one off you as well. Yeah, it definitely caught someone on the way through. But for the report to say it floated in, I mean, anyone who watches the video of the goal is sort of like, "Were you watching a different game to me? It didn't float in; it whacked into the far corner."
I'm convinced Bruce is checking the contract of goal bonuses. Going now, can't have that one. Can't have that one.
You got to watch your money, mate. You know, every penny counts.
But, no, absolutely great goal. And what impressed me even more so is the 1930s way he celebrated and just literally turned around and nonchalantly strolled back, going, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." So, hang on,
I think that was just I think that was just needed. It was like, right, we're back in this. The job ain't done yet. Let's get going again.
Good time. And then we had the free kick.
Don't. That was one of those ones I was actually sending. I think someone had text me. So I was looking at my phone, going, "Who's bloody else texting me during a game?" And then all I hear is, I forget who it was. I think it was Juki stood behind me, going, "Oh, fucking hell." Looked up and saw the bloke rolling a ball into an empty net. Dino's nowhere near his goal. And I'm like, hang on, that was our free kick. What's just gone on there? I mean, someone described it to me and it sounded awful. And then I watched it on the highlights on the video back today. I was like,
yeah.
Rob, what are you doing?
Well, it's difficult to... obviously, he's done very well. It's difficult to criticise him, but yeah, you got to wonder what he was doing. He must have been just trying to make a point. He
was trying to take it quick. But someone said that the geezer wasn't 10 yards back. But the problem is, if Rob's decided to take it quick, you haven't given him time to retreat 10 yards. Yeah. So tough. Yeah. That's obviously the way the ref's seen it. But it's silly that Dino's come all that way to take the free kick. And either Dino shouted at him and he hasn't heard or whatever. But yeah, it was...
it was...
as I said in the blog, our latest viral YouTube hit, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Maybe something else will come up with Sutton United goalkeeper now. But anyway, almost straight away, the ref proved what a great ref he was by making another decision wrong. And it didn't look like a penalty. It didn't sound like a penalty.
It even from watching behind the goal, the end had a shout for it, but that's football supporters these days. That's the way, fans are. It's a challenge in the box. Oh, ref, it's a penalty. But, I mean, when he pointed to sort of vaguely in the direction of the spot, because a few people were like, has he actually given that? Or is he given offside? And we were looking at a linesman for a flag. But no, then, I thought the lad won the ball. The ref was quite a way back, so whether he didn't have a great view of it and just thought, I wasn't convinced it was a pen. I didn't think it was at the time, and having watched the replay about 20 times on the highlights, I'm still not convinced it was.
Well, I wonder whether the referee did think he'd made a bit of a ricket with the free kick, and possibly because someone said the ref blew for the free kick to be taken, then Rob took it. I'm not sure. Obviously, I wasn't there, but maybe he thought he'd even it up. But that was a bit dodgy.
I don't know.
We would be furious if that had been the other way. We'd been furious.
Oh yeah. I mean, but the thing was as well, he kind of balanced it out right at the end, where Richie nearly had his head taken off in the box by a bloke.
Yes.
High foot. It's definitely a penalty, and he's completely blanked it.
Yeah.
And of course, you're going back to you being a football fan. You can just be screaming for it, but once you kind of, why isn't he giving us that? And then you think, oh, hang on, we've had a shitter earlier.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
why. That's why he's not. That's why he's not giving us that blatant one. It's because he knows he's probably made a mistake on the earlier one. So it kind of leveled up. It balanced itself out in the end.
It did. But then he did make a very good decision, in fairness to him, in that he was, because it was Rob Oakes saying that it had decided it was going to be 6 minutes added.
Yeah.
Which again, Stevenage fans would have been upset about because they don't seem to understand that the clock didn't stop when the whole floodlight conversation was going on. And there was quite a lot of substitutions going on. But it was going to give 6 minutes. And then I think it was a kid or something who booted the ball away or threw the ball away from Dean. So he stuck on an extra 2.
It was, about 3 times the ball went into the stand at the far end behind Dean's goal. And as you kind of half expect, they're winning. They're down in the bottom. They're trying to, their guys want to keep their team in front. So they're holding onto the ball for a little while. Totally expect that. I'd do the same. But then the way that you kind of mitigate that is by you just plonk it down over the fence and let the keeper come and get it. And 9 times out of 10, a ref's just going to ignore that just because of the way they are. But what they were then doing was holding on to it for 30, 40 seconds, nearly a minute. And then it was being lobbed out of the stand towards the far touchline. Like they did that like 3 times. And we're all, of course, going mental because time wasting, you kind of expect a bit, well, that's taking the piss.
Yeah.
And he's obviously noted that. And maybe he's just added a bit more on quite late or thought, tell you what, that was probably they were probably taking the piss a bit there. So Rob said afterwards that it should have been 6 minutes, and the ref told him to add a couple more. So
that was the best decision of the match.
So the only advice you can give, the only thing you can take from that is Stevenage fans, work on your shithousing.
Be a little bit subtle.
Yeah.
But then Richie, who hasn't scored many for us, but he's prolific against Stevenage.
Oh, he loves them, doesn't
he? I saw the scenes. How was it? Limbs.
Yeah, as the young ones say these days, limbs, scenes, hashtag, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it was. I mean, the good thing was it was the little ball popped straight back out to Dave. It's probably the only time Dave got into a decent bit of space all day, and he's pulled the defender across, and his cross, it's perfect. Just perfect for something like, because we had all both centre backs up. Rich is in the box. We've loaded the box. That's the sort of cross you want. You want it dollied up so someone can just come and attack it, and that's what Richie did. It's perfect balling. But yeah, everything went a little bit mental after that. A lot of shouting, screaming, jumping around, and as you tend to when you've just equalised in the 98th minute.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was one particular bloke getting very upset that we'd celebrated so much against a relegation battling side, and it's like we were losing. What was? I
don't get that these days with modern football fans. You can't celebrate a goal anymore because it's tin pot. Well, hang on, that's why we go.
Yeah,
that's the thing. That's why we go. To have moments like that. Those moments are so fleeting and they come along fairly rarely that you've got to enjoy them when they come. But yeah, I don't get modern football fans these days. No. You can't celebrate a goal. The team has to be on an equal or higher stature to you, otherwise you're tin pot. But then again, if they're above you and you score a goal winner against them, and your lad celebrates, then it's tin pot because he's over celebrating.
Yeah, he's cup final.
Yeah,
but yeah, again, going back, if we were at the start of the season, if we were pinpointing, you'd be quite happy with a draw away from home against a team like Stevenage. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, of course, they've. I mean, I don't think they were a bad side. They played some all right stuff first half. Like I say, they had the ball a lot. They buzzed around quite well. So you look at sides like that and you think, well, why are you 20th, 21st? But they've maybe they're in a false position. Maybe they've had a few lads injured, and I know they've made a couple of signings in the window.
Yeah, I
so.
think so the manager's fairly new as well. I think he took over just before the Pizza Cup match. So they're obviously there's a bit of a change. But no, I mean, it's given us the 40 points, which again we're just literally halfway through the season, and we're 80% of what we're after. I know Gab Sutton, the guy who does a lot of EFL stuff, keeps laughing at us. He doesn't quite get it.
Yeah, he doesn't get that obsession with 50 points, does he? It's quite funny reading some of his stuff going, just enjoy it. No, we are enjoying it. We just want to get when we get a 50, there's going to be a party.
Yeah, absolutely. Just wake up at night rocking 50 points, 50 points. 50 points.
To be honest, the way Scunny and Oldham, likes of Scunny and Oldham are going, I think 46 will do it. I think 2 more wins will do it. But I think 50 is a nice round number.
A nice round number to get. Yeah, nice absolutely. Target. I was saying to John from Colchester that there does seem to be, obviously we've never taken a notice of League Two, only towards the end of the season to see who's
coming down.
We're playing. But it does seem to be a few teams vying for being not quite the worst of a bad bunch. And he's quite adamant Colchester are going to be in that dogfight very soon.
And the thing is as well with League Two, it's the 2 or 3 of the same sort of names really. Stevenage have been down there 2 or 3 years now. Colchester have kind of nosedived into it a couple of times after a half decent start. So and I suppose it comes back then people start arguing about 3 up, 3 down and stuff like that.
We mentioned that this morning. I said I was biased because obviously we've had to do our time and dig it out to the. I mean, apart from once or twice, we've never been up there anyway, so it made no real difference to us. But yeah, there was a good article about the quality in the National League, that people have to fight so hard to get out of it. When teams come up, they're already at a standard much higher than the teams at the bottom. Because I didn't realise until fairly recently that hardly any teams ever come back down again. It's always a good few years.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's ever gone straight back down.
I don't think anyone's gone straight down. And I think...
I mean, even yo-yo sides like Barnet usually hang around a year or 2 before they drop back. So...
Yeah. But we don't need to worry about that side of the table, except for...
hopefully not this year, no.
Yeah, except for it moves us nicely on to Tuesday. And the Visit of Colchester, who, as I said to John, the poor bloke must regret giving me his email, because we've had so many different chats, including we had a nice big chat about the game that was called off as well. So,
oh God, yeah, the one on the 29th.
Poor fella must be like, oh God. But it was very, very kind of his time. How do you see that going? I don't know where we are injury-wise. I know Toby went off on Saturday. But
no, I think Toby was more a change. I think Donovan got a knock. And both of them were just they were slogging away up front and just getting no real change. Nothing really worked for him. Nothing really, just one of them days. Nothing really came off for him. The ball into him was always just either slightly lacking in quality or, didn't give him enough to get separation from a defender and make some space. It was they both flogged themselves to death a little bit. Toby, I think Toby didn't do anything wrong, and nor did Donovan. It's just one of those days. So I don't know if Omar's fit. I'd expect him to be back, but you don't know. I don't know why he missed out in the first place. So, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Isaac up front on Saturday, and maybe Will Randall back in out wide instead of Isaac. So
yeah. I mean,
you've got they're on a terrible run. So hopefully, if we can stick a decent side out, a strong side out, we can get the win. I mean, we saw them off in the Pizza Cup, and I got the impression that wasn't far off the best they could put out. Yeah. Whereas we had 3 or 4 changes. So you would hope that we'd be able to at least repeat the result.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've strange saying it, but looking at how the games have gone between us, you'd hope for a win.
I mean, looking at form, we're not brilliant at the minute, but they're on a terrible run. I think they've lost 6 or something.
I think it's 5 and I read somewhere that it was 5 in a row, which is their worst run since 9 in a row a few years ago when they were in League One, and they dropped down that year. So there's understandable worries there. And then, as I briefly discussed with John, that video of their owner going, no, it's my club, not yours.
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I've seen some of the comments about it. Talk about how to make friends and influence people.
There may be more context to it, and it was a 3-second clip, but it may well have been other conversations and him saying, no, it's my club, not yours. But that's what was in clipped. Obviously, as you've mentioned, modern football is everyone has to have a beef about something, which I said to John, although we had the Oldham chap on last week and he gave us quite a detailed thing about the problems in Oldham.
Yeah.
And at one point I was kind of thinking, I need to jump in and wrap this up. But then I was like, do you know what? Some Sutton fans, we need to hear this, because
no, you do. You do need to have an idea of what's going on in the league around you, and
it's just it helps appreciate
that as well.
The boring board that we have.
Yeah.
That they do the job right.
Don't you do see a lot of people who've come on board lately. Last couple of years with, obviously we've been fairly successful, so you're going to get new supporters. And now they see that where we are in the league, they're all talking about pushing on to League One, which is the funny bit, because we come back to Gab and the 50 points. We're all going, just get 50, then we're safe. then we can see what exciting stuff can happen. But yeah, they're talking about pushing on to League One and stuff like that. And I've seen on the Facebook group, there's been a couple of comments about, are we going to make any signings in the January window? And it's like, probably not. Just because we probably don't have the funds available with all the other stuff going on around the club at the minute. So, but yeah, you kind of get people who don't quite understand how lucky we are to have the setup we have, and then you've got dickheads like you've got running the geezer at Oldham's a div. He's just an idiot, and he's. You're just lucky that you haven't got someone like that running your club and running it into the not so much just making a mess of it, running it into the ground.
Yeah. Well, I freely admit the story has changed ever so slightly in my mind, I'm sure, over the years. But we nearly had that with the fellow who went to Carshalton, Dupree.
Apparently he did approach us.
Yeah, he wanted to come to us, and apparently he wanted to buy it free for all. And we were like, well, no, you get a seat on the board. This is the bit that may not be true. That's how I understood it. And he didn't want a bar of it.
I think he demanded. His demands were like 100% complete control of the club, and he's going to clear house and all the rest of it. And obviously, with the board we've got, they went, no, you're not. No. You can't have 100% control, because we don't know where at that time we didn't know where a load of the shares were, and on the people. But that's again now outsiders. How your circumstances dictate how you can react to these people or how you deal with it. Because he came in and said that, and we go, not happening, mate, because you don't know who you're talking to. Yeah. We're all long-term fans. We're all putting our own a few quid in to keep the place running. We're not going to hand that over to a guy like you, someone like you. And unfortunately, he then changed tack when he went to Carshalton. He just basically went, "What's your debt? I'll pay it off."
Yeah, but
so
as much as it was funny at first, it is a little bit sad what it's done to Carshalton, because they were that penalty kick away from being a division above us, which I think would have been the first time. Obviously delighted they weren't, but he's then just dropped them through. So where we've stopped and gone, okay, we need to build this community club, he's ruined his community.
It's. I mean, they've got a big in with it. They've got lots of kids' sides, and they do a lot of that. But I think they've stabilised over the last couple of years.
Yeah,
it does appear that I think he maybe learned his lesson about sticking his oar in
interfering
a bit too much at levels of the club that he didn't really understand, like constantly sacking managers, made himself the manager, and look at what happened there. He spent fortunes on the team, and it just didn't work because he didn't know what he was doing.
Exactly, and
that's not being rude to the geezer. He didn't. So
that's where the only kind of team selection thing you're going to hear Bruce or any of the rest of them talk about is no, you can't have another player for the squad because you've got too many, and that's
that
it
as well. That's about that's about as interfering as Bruce and the rest of the guys will get on that level.
But on that, I just saw today, I didn't realise, but I think that there may well be hoping to get another signing in. No extra thing. I think he said there was one or two they were working on, because I know we just got that keeper Nelson in, but we've let Philip go to, I'm not going to say his surname, Philip go to Sutton Common Rovers.
Yeah.
And actually, Brad, I just saw today, I think he's Carl Shorten.
He's at Carl Shorten, yeah. He's gone. Looks like he's gone to Carl Shorten on loan. So
we've moved 2 off on loan, and we've got 1 in to replace. I didn't realise, because when I saw the photo of the guy, I thought, oh, all right, he looks all right. And then I realised he's been around a bit. He's
I didn't recognise the name, but I looked him up, and yeah, he's bags of experience. It turns out he was the keeper for, I believe he was the keeper for Notts County when they beat us 2-0 on ESPN a few years ago.
Wow.
And he saved the penalty. I believe that's him.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing from the club perspective, they've got him in as maybe he's doing coaching badges, because he's well into his 30s. Maybe he's doing coaching badges. He's good to sit on the bench and be a keeper coach maybe as well.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was where
combine the
was
role.
going to head to. Yeah, absolutely. So where was I going to go next? I can't remember. So Colchester, just a prediction. What are you going to go with? I'm still going to try and stick to these predictions.
I hope for a win. I don't like making bold predictions. I'll tell you what, I'll go for 3-1. Let's just give them a little something, but also, no, let's.
I actually put 3-1 as well. So I'm gonna be brave. I'm gonna put 3-0 now, because you said 3-1.
Ooh.
I know. It'll be brave.
You're not keeping track of these, are you?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, come on! What's this? Are you going to tally up the points at the end of the season and see how you did against all the guests?
Yeah, and at the moment, I can tell you, if we were going to put a word on it, it would be shit. Is how I've done compared to the rest. Absolute fucking toilet.
Oh well.
So my system up until today was I was using Football Manager and doing a season mode, and I was like, that worked, and none of them have been right. And the only one I've got right is Colchester in the Pizza Cup, where I couldn't simulate that, so I just plucked the figure out of the air and I got it fucking right. Whatever.
See, mate. So, yeah. Sometimes you got to go with heart overhead.
Yeah. So it depends pretty much how this goes, I would imagine, to see whether it continues or not. Because if I carry on doing it as well,
if it carries on being a complete disaster in your favour, it's like, I'll stop doing that.
It may well quietly disappear. Who knows?
You'll have to edit this video now as well. They'll down the line to hide it.
It's all right. I'll do too many of them. No one's ever going to trawl back through them to go, what was that one? What did he say? I'm not going to listen to all the shit I talk to try and find out one particular thing. But yeah, so we are pretty much done, unless there's something else you wanted to plug. There wasn't. We've already said the blog post, so obviously check it out. Gandamanium.
Yeah, blogs up. Gandamanium.com. Get your eyeballs over there.
And you seem to have stabilised a little bit on the authors. You're not begging for them for the last couple of weeks.
It kind of panned out perfectly, because I ended up getting the bloody lurgy just before Christmas, so I had to obviously park my arse indoors for 10 days. So thankfully, the 2 games were the Surrey Cup. Well, Dukey's got to do it. And Tots had already offered to do the Harrogate game on the 18th, which I obviously couldn't go to because I was right in the middle of my lurgy prison. So I was back ready for Boxing Day, which then got called off well in advance. So yeah, I think it's more. I think when you say stabilised, I think it's more not played.
Yeah.
Settled it down a bit.
But I did notice there wasn't a call for the Pizza Cup correspondent, because you've jumped on the bandwagon now.
I actually, as I explained, I actually sorted out a guest writer. Someone did actually say, "Oh, are you still looking for people?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, cool. Well, I'll be doing that game. I'd love to have a go." I went, "Okay, cool." that's fine. All you just got to do is knock it up, a few pictures. Don't take it too seriously. Send us what you've got. And then literally like just finishing work on the Tuesday, and I got a text from him saying, really, really sorry, but I had something come up at home, short notice. I can't make tonight. I'm like, oh no, there's no way. I know Dukey's going, but there's no way he'll write it. Tots isn't going to come up from the South Coast. So I was like, SuttonUnited.net, £12 down the toilet to the pizza cup. So yeah, I had to toddle along, but it just allowed me to like you say, jump on the bandwagon and shut JR up about his, you can't come to Wembley. Bloody can.
Yeah, exactly. People who've only started supporting Sutton the last couple of years, possibly getting a Wembley trip, we're like, no.
Yeah, you're not allowed. We're doing this crap for 30 odd years.
Exactly. Anyway, no, we're not gonna jump the gun a little bit. I did get a little bit upset when I saw they got pumped 4-0. So I was like, oh man, that's gonna give them a bit of a kick up the arse a little bit, isn't it?
Oh well.
But never mind. Hopefully not. Anyway, yeah, thanks for your time.
No problem, mate. Anytime.
Probably see you Tuesday.
Yes, you will see me along on Tuesday on the Curver.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, you haven't seen this? Look. I planned it out that if there was 3 people working on the video call, which is going to work great for anyone listening on the audios, obviously brilliant. There's my little picture of the Curver, and we would have sat all 3 of us on the screens. Hey, marvellous. All the
get people on
live
virtually on the terraces. I like it. I see. It's all developing. It's all absorbing, evolving into the product you want, Mike.
Funny enough, I said that to John earlier. When we were off camera, I was like, my next guest next week, I should be having Claire and some guys from Northampton. Yeah. And I just kind of randomly go through Twitter and find people, and they've got a podcast, and I was like, oh, do you fancy it? And they're like, yeah, we'll do that. I'm quite honest in that it's not very good. Don't worry. And they were laughing because I called him rather than a guest, a victim. So got him to come on, and he's agreed to it. And I just had a quick flick through their thing, and I've realised it's only the bloody people who've won the podcast of the year. And I'm like, oh, marvellous, isn't it? We have people going, oh, that's what a podcast is supposed to sound like.
Oh, but then on the other side of the coin, mate, it allows you to have a quiet word with them in the green room behind the scenes to get information and go, how do you make this good?
Yeah, just as I did to Craig from Mansfield Matters, and
that's what it all is, mate. Networking.
Yeah, absolutely. Steal, borrow ideas.
Yeah, exactly. Learn from your peers, I believe.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've got peers. Oh my god. Anyway, I am going this time. Right. Take care, guys. See you all on Tuesday, and I'll be back on Wednesday with the Wednesday is now going to be called the midweek social. Because Andy suggested it, and the votes came in, and it was quite overwhelming. So it's now going to be the midweek social, not the midweek treat. So
I know where that name comes from as well.
Yeah, I remembered when he said it. I was like, oh yeah, I remember.
When I saw that, and I saw Andy had suggested it, I went, no.
Yeah, I remember now. But anyway, I can't be expected to remember everything. I can barely remember I'm supposed to do this. Take care, guys. Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Bye.
See ya.
United! United!